Rally is probably the coolest form of motorsports, in my opinion, and one of the great things about it is that you don't need much to start doing it. Just a course, any old car, and enough safety equipment to ensure you don't die, so your budget can be pretty low. So this is my list for the best beginner budget rally cars that you can buy and jump straight into. Disclaimer, I'm not an expert on rally. I haven't even participated in one, although I would really like to. So this is basically just what I've learned through the internet and talking to people. So starting right off, I have number 20, Fiat 500/500 Abarth. Usually I run across these at about 5k, so they're going to be a little bit on the expensive side, but they offer decent performance for the price. It's very small and zippy, which makes it effective in tight rally conditions, and with front-wheel drive, it'll be easy to pull yourself out of corners and easier to control oversteer with the throttle. The Abarth version comes with a turbocharged inline-4 making 160 horsepower and 170 pound-feet of torque, while the base model from 2012 generates 101 horsepower. Both figures might seem low, but any small front-wheel drive hatchback can be a lethal weapon with those numbers, especially one this compact. Number 19, Mini Cooper. The Mini Cooper is a car that's already been proven on the rally stage. The main issue with the Mini is that I couldn't find any that were running and cheap. The cheapest I found was just under 6k, but you end up getting a proven platform with great handling, good aftermarket support, and decent enough power. They're quite small, and it's easy to find one with a manual. And you can even find all-wheel drive versions that'll give you more control off-road. Number 18, Volkswagen Golf/Jetta. I would put this considerably higher on the list, but I wasn't able to find any older ones for really cheap. A lot of what I was running into were early 2000s models with horsepower around the 101 to 120 range, being sold for around 3k. However, the Golf is still an amazing option. It's well planted, handles very well. It's a very popular pick for early rallyists. You might also look into getting a Beetle or a Jetta, since they are very similar in a lot of ways. I found a couple for relatively cheap. Also, while searching for Beetles, I found this classic 1971 Bug in driving condition for under 2k, and I want it so bad, even though it needs quite a bit of work. That would certainly be a unique rally car. Number 17, Toyota Yaris. These things are great. They're dirt cheap, super tiny, easy to maintain, and they handle really well. While it is underpowered with only about 106 horsepower, they've got some rally roots, and they're common enough they won't have any issues with replacement parts. Generally, any small front-wheel drive hatchback will hold its own out on the rally stages. Number 16, Dodge Neon. Another compact and inexpensive front-wheel drive option. I found two for about $2,500, which is a little expensive, but you'll end up getting more power than comparable options, about 132 horsepower. Neons might be somewhat unreliable, but they're competent enough to be usable, and when something breaks, there are enough replacement parts in circulation to keep the car running. In addition, there is aftermarket support for these cars, and enough of it to make a decent off-road ripper. Also, if you manage to find a cheap SRT4, which you won't, then you've got a real powerhouse. Number 15, Toyota Matrix/Corolla. Small, fun, front-wheel drive, and inexpensive hatchbacks are usually a great call for a rally car, as I've said, and the Toyota Matrix is a great example of that. They're relatively common and inexpensive. I found this one in good condition with a manual for just under 2k. It's a Toyota, so it won't break on you. Pretty sure this thing would still run even if you wrap it around a tree. And if something does break, you can replace it pretty easily. With only 130 horsepower for the base model, you might find that it's a little lacking. With the control of a manual, and its well-engineered platform, it'll stay fun, and you can keep sending it for years. If you can't find a cheap Matrix, consider a Corolla, like this one, up for grabs at just $950. They'll have less power generally, but it's still a Toyota. Also, the Corolla has a genuine rally pedigree, so props for that. Number 14, Pontiac Vibe. Here's a bizarre option, but hear me out. I think the Vibe will make a good case for itself. It's based off the same platform as the Corolla and the Matrix mentioned earlier, with the same 1.8-liter 4-cylinder making the same 130 horsepower at the non-GT trim, and it still offers the same 5-speed manual. It's a little bigger than the Matrix, but it's still very close size-wise, and the handling is still competent. But here's the kicker. Both the Matrix and the Vibe were offered in all-wheel drive, but I was only able to find cheap Vibes with that option, which means all-wheel drive may not have sold well on the Toyotas. But put everything together and you've got a small, all-wheel drive hatch with reasonable power and Toyota reliability for between $3,500 and $1,700. Sounds like a good deal to me. Number 13, Porsche 944/924. Many may find this to be an odd pick as well, but I'm putting it on my list because of its superb handling. As a Porsche, it's got a good pedigree and enough performance to compete with many others in its class. You can find them in decent condition below $5,000 and as low as $1,200, at least that I've found. $4,000 might sound like a little much, especially for a non-turbo model, since you most likely won't find one, but you're going to get one of the best handling small cars out there, with some decent reliability, at least for a Porsche. The ones you're probably going to find will have around 143 horsepower, which isn't much, but it's enough, along with rear-wheel drive. Number 12, Toyota Celica. I was able to find several of these for under $2,000, which I think is a great price for what you're getting. The Celica is one of the rally icons of the 90s, right up there with the Evo and WRX, and while these might not be spec'd out for WRC or have all-wheel drive, the chassis and Toyota dependability are still there. Generally, these will be coming with around 140 horsepower being sent to the front wheels, which makes it very controllable off-road. And while it's a little down on power, the price is pretty hard to beat for what you're getting. I found an 02 manual in good shape for $1,500, but you can find cheaper, easier to beat on ones with automatic transmissions for even less. Number 11, Ford Mustang. A true performance classic. It's relatively compact, lightweight, powerful, affordable, and plentiful. And while it may be more common to see Mustangs as budget drift or drag cars, the SN95 chassis is balanced and versatile enough to be used in a wide range of performance applications, thanks to rear-wheel drive and the fact that it's a well-supported platform. I was able to find several SN95 Stangs for $3,000, including a V8 GT with 215 horsepower. So if you want to go down the rear-wheel drive rally car route, the Mustang might be a good call. Number 10, Mazda Miata. Miata is always the answer. It's just a fact. If you're thinking of a rear-wheel drive rally option, the Miata is a great call. It's tiny, common, and inexpensive to buy and maintain. It offers some of the best handling in the industry with a good power-to-weight ratio and great weight balance. You're probably going to have to get one with between 116 and 140 horsepower, but with a vast aftermarket community, it's not hard to beef these up. Obviously, horsepower isn't everything, and the Miata offers much more than that in the form of its amazing driving dynamics. You can pick up one for under $2,000 if you don't mind it being a little beat up, but it's a rally car. You're going to beat it up anyway. Number 9, Ford Focus. You might be wondering why I rank this above the Miata. It's just because they tend to be more common and there's more aftermarket support for making these into rally cars. The Focus has held its own in rally in both its front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive incarnations since it replaced the Escort, making it a no-brainer for a budget rally car. It's robust, super common, super cheap, and it'll give you between 130 and 151 horsepower depending on the model right out of the gate. I found these things for as cheap as $800, and I found a solid 3-door hatch for a little under $3,000. Number 8, Ford Fiesta. It's really close between this and the Focus. Consider them practically tied. The Fiesta offers a smaller package with 120 horsepower in its base form, and a chassis that's slightly better suited to rally, but I wasn't able to find any of these that were quite as cheap as some of the Focuses I ran across. The Fiesta promises an agile, light, and direct ride that's very capable in tight off-road courses. It'll give you a good feel for how a rally car should behave, and it's probably the best small hatchback for starting off in rally. It's also worth mentioning that there are a lot of companies that will offer upgrades to make these things into legitimate race cars. so it may be a decent investment down the line. Number 7. Assorted Volvos. Now, I say assorted because you can find a lot of pretty decent options for cheap. You most likely won't find any 240s or other cars of that era, but they do pass through every once in a while. For example, I found a 2004 S80 2.5 turbo for less than 3K, which is good for about 208 horsepower, and these can be found with all-wheel drive. Also found a really solid 1998 S70 with a manual for even less, along with a couple wagons. Overall, if you're looking for a decently priced rally car with some heritage and community support, there's a Volvo out there for you. Number 6. BMW 3 Series. Yet another classic rally option. The 3 Series is great because it manages to balance price with power and affordability. You can find them in both rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive with horsepower somewhere in the low 200s. Most that I found were around $3,500 to $4,000, but that's not too bad, especially considering the shape they were in. I'd say the 3 Series is a balanced and competitive choice if you're looking for a more powerful option. Number 5. Infiniti G35x. Perhaps another surprise for some of you, but I think the G35X is worth looking into if you can find one at a good price, like this one listed at just under 3K. You'll get the same exact platform as the 350Z, along with the same engine, which means you'll be getting good power at about 260 horsepower and amazing handling. You could go for the rear-wheel drive model, but I think the all-wheel drive G35X makes more sense for this application. An all-wheel drive 350Z with a little extra weight and less bro tax sounds great to me. Number 4. Porsche Cayenne S. I'll admit, this is a bit of a stretch, but if you get lucky, this could be a great find. I found one currently being auctioned at $3,300, and it doesn't appear to be going anywhere. This all-wheel drive beast makes 340 horsepower with its 4.5-liter V8, and it's been proven to be quite capable off-road. Yes, it's a bit chunky, but with 340 horsepower and all-wheel drive, I think that can be mostly overlooked, especially if you strip it down. This beast may struggle on tighter stages due to its heavy weight and large size, but it'll power through any corner, straight, ditch, puddle, or small river you pilot it into. Number 3. Honda Civic. I may have ranked this a little high, but it's undeniable that the Civic is one of the best budget cars for just about anything. There's about 1 billion of them out there, you can get them for next to nothing, there's a huge aftermarket community, and they won't let you down when the going gets tough. These things are a blast on and off-road, and as I've said before, compact, front-wheel drive hatchbacks tend to kill it on the rally stages. With high-revving four-bangers and superb manual shifters, you know the Civic will offer both performance and a satisfying feeling when driving at speed. Not to mention, these things handle amazingly. I found a ton of them at highly varying prices depending on the quality and trim. Number 2. Audi A4/A6/S4. Another oddball, but I was surprised to see how affordable and capable these could be. Audi's Quattro system has nothing to prove as far as being rally-worthy, and these cars come with both that and power to boot. I found a 2001 A6 Quattro V6 twin turbo for only a little over 2K, which means you're getting 250 horsepower and a guaranteed off-road ripper. And if you want something a little easier on the wallet, I was able to find a 2006 A4 2.0 Turbo Quattro, which makes a respectable 200 horsepower for just $1,200. What you really want is an S4, and I was able to find a couple for as little as 3K. To break it down, you're getting a 4.2-liter V8 making 340 horsepower and 302 pound-feet of torque, in addition to a killer all-wheel drive system. It's hard to beat that. These things don't just come with power and grip though, they handle well too. All around, I'd say that getting a cheap A4 for under 2K is a great call, and the S4 is definitely one of the best options out there. And finally, number 1, Subaru Impreza. Now, some of this is personal bias because I am a huge Subaru fan, but the Impreza's chassis has been proven time and time again in rally. Subaru's all-wheel drive is standard, and it's known as one of the best in the business. When you think rally, you usually think Subaru, and there's good reason for that. Even just a base Impreza or GD Impreza Outback Sport will hold its own and lay down solid times. You can nab GD wagons all day for under $2K, sometimes even as low as $800, and with 165 horsepower standard, it'll compete with most others at its price point. You'll probably want to be looking at GC or GD NA Imprezas if you want to keep your costs down, but if you want to pay closer to 5K to 8K, you can get a WRX and you certainly won't get disappointed. With 227 horsepower, this classic turbocharged machine will make short work of anything rally related you throw at it. With manuals plentiful, expenses low, and rally times guaranteed to be quick, the Impreza, powered by its flat 4 boxer, is my number 1 call for a budget rally car. Alright, that's my list. But wait, I still have some honorable mentions. Starting off with the Mitsubishi Lancer, I wanted to keep this list around 20 entries, and unfortunately this little boy just didn't make the cut. While Evos are incredible rally machines, they're expensive and really rare in my area, and while the NA front-wheel drive Lancers are totally a great option if you're looking for something under 2K, I just felt like there was better stuff that deserved a place on this list rather than the Lancer. I also wanted to give a quick shout out to stuff like this 2006 Chevrolet Tracker that I found available for just $400. Don't sleep on small SUVs and trucks like this. They can be just as capable in some rally stages as many cars. While I'm sure this isn't quick, it's a 4-wheel drive vehicle for $400, so don't push it aside without consideration. And lastly, I have this, a 1996 Mitsubishi Eclipse Turbo with a 5-speed manual. And, get this, it's the all-wheel drive version. For how much? 5K, in running condition, with nothing but some rust. Yes, it's seen better days, but I honestly thought these things were extinct. I wouldn't rally this, nor would I recommend you rally this, but if you see one of these, buy it. They're awesome and disappearing faster than you think. Well, that's all for today. Let me know what you thought of this, and comment your opinions down below. What are your favorite budget rally cars? Let me know. Honestly, the ranking was a little sloppy, but I settled for this because I felt it was right. I know it's been a while since I've posted, but homeschooling stuff is starting to ramp up, so I've lost a lot of free time to that. But I wanted to make a video that didn't require me going out and getting more film, so here we are. Hope you guys enjoyed. And if this video does well, I'll probably do a couple more like this before I'm able to get back out and film some real content with my friends. So leave your feedback and let me know what you think. See you in the next one.